All right, guys, let's talk about the project handoff. It is probably one of the bigger, important parts of the project because it's setting all the expectations. You miss a step in this and something happens, it's usually when it escalates to be as a problem. So there is a checklist to really remind you and go through each step. There is this booklet, which is where this is prototype. We're going to create something a little bit nicer, something that the customer is not going to throw out. But to give you a brief overview, the handoff is after you have sat down with the salesperson and reviewed the project on the outside. You've gone through the project line by line. You've understood it. You've asked the questions to the salesperson, maybe on a Zoom call so you can share screens. Now you're meeting with the client at the property, at the site. And you are now, as the project manager, taking control of that time. The salesperson has built that rapport with the client, and now you have to transfer that know, like, and trust from the salesperson to you, the project manager. So that salesperson is giving a nice warm welcome, saying, some nice things about you, and being there as your support. But as a project manager, you are now going to take control and talk through the entire project to make sure if everyone's on the same page. Now, the reason why the salesperson is there is to support you, just to make sure if you missed anything. But the biggest thing is they are there to clarify any of something that was maybe taken out of the project halfway through and the client doesn't remember. They didn't read their contract, so you're going to have your contract with you. You're going to go line by line, and you're going to go through the scope. That is going to be a portion of your time there, along with, putting a sign in, maybe a lockbox on the property, getting the key, etc. But the most important part is going through this booklet. This booklet, you're going to go line by line. You're going to go and give the copy to the client, and let's say, listen, this is really important. For us to run this project correctly, this needs to be followed. Okay? And I want to have the hard conversations with you right now so you have the right expectations of how this project runs and who's running it, how it's going to be done, and what you should expect from me. So as you get going, you'll have a good rhythm, and you'll have a good, you have your own, you'll attach your own way of doing this in that, how you talk and how you bring it up and how, making jokes and whatever. So you'll spin it a little bit, but this stuff needs to be covered. So first off, maybe you do this, I would do this before you even go over the scope of work. Okay, because the scope can take a long time, and then people get, it gets burnt out. Usually, it might be the family there. They just closed on the house. The kids are running around, being a pain in the neck, and you're like, let me just get out of here. They want to get out of there. The sales consultant's like, oh, hey, listen, I already sold this. This is my last hour of this job, and now I'm going to get paid, so I'm excited. They're not really there. You need to take control. This is so important, and you need to just pump the brakes and say, listen, we're going to go through this. Let's go line by line. So let's do that. So this is, you would have them, this first page is going to be your bio with your photo on it. And you're going to have, so that they know, and your cell number, your email address, and, the little bit about you, which is important. And then you're going to talk about, listen, the reason we have this booklet, and the reason why we're going to go through all of the procedures in this and why we do all the things is because we know if everything is followed, you're going to give us a 5-star review. So my goal as a project manager is 5 stars all day, every day. And when you don't see that, and I'm going to be asking you periodically with my progress reports, was it a 5-star week? at any point you don't think it's a 5-star week, you need to tell me, and I'm gonna fix it. So that's my goal. So you're gonna want to say that to them. Second, how do I get the 5-star? Is I go through all communications go through CoConstruct. Why? If you're texting me and you're emailing me, it's all jumbled and I don't know what's going on. If it goes through CoConstruct, I can organize it. And I have other jobs. Explain that. Listen, I have other jobs other than yours. So I need everything to go through CoConstruct. So then you ask some questions about CoConstruct. You'll have already known if they're very active or limited active, based off of what the salesperson has gone back and forth with. So you'll know. You can see all the history of it. So if they had made lots of choices and they were uploading stuff and they were, commenting on the message board and commenting in each selection, they're going to be on top of it. But you want to say, did you have any questions? The first thing, do you know that there's an app? Did you download the app? Did you know that you can get text message? We can set you up for text message notification. Is that something you're interested? Would you like, we can open it up on my tablet, or we can open up on the laptop and I can show you other features? Or, you know what, if you have anything, let's set up a time. I'm going to do a Zoom with a screen share or Google Meet with a screen share, and I'll go over any other features. I can show you the schedule and all that stuff. So make sure that they're comfortable. They're going to say, yeah. But some people might ask some questions that you can take care of right now. So really emphasize this. Be like, I know maybe it's an extra step and you'd rather text me. Don't text me. Put it on CoConstruct so I can keep it organized. Because if I don't have that and it's on my phone and then I forget, I don't review everything and then I miss it. So all communication. Next one. Let's go through the allowances. So in your contract, you're going to have that allowance page for them to pick out stuff. So you say, we can go over this more, but here's your allowance page. And, explain. If you pick something more expensive, and don't forget that there has to include, you have $4,000 total to go to Torco or go to Plinkton and Hills to pick out your fixtures. Make sure you remember, that's the total. So we can't, you can't add the sales tax on that, because sometimes at 10 grand, there's an extra $600. So they got to remember this. So say, here's your allowance page. If you go over, it's going to be a change order. So make sure you bring this to our representative there, so that, they know exactly what we have for you to work with. So and then if you have some good, reps there that you want to direct them, say, hey, listen, go talk to Tina, go talk to Sharon, whoever, and connect them on CoConstruct so that everybody's communicating, and explain to that. Listen, you need to communicate with the rep for your allowances through CoConstruct so I can see, just to make sure that you guys don't throw something in that on the production side is going to be difficult to change. So, the next page is a schedule. You want to explain. Say, listen, all right, so I'm going to build my whole schedule for this project. Now, and this is a good, you'll weave in little bits of stuff into this. Just say, listen, I'm going to build it. And I'm going to build some days off in between everything. Because have you ever had a contractor come to your house and them not show up, and then they come 4 hours late? Well, some of that is time management, but a lot of times these guys are working to the end of the day, and they might have to go back the next day because they didn't finish it. They can't just leave the other job undone with maybe no water or no electricity. They got to finish it. So we put in buffer days in between each trade. So if they run late, this is, we're ripping stuff apart. They're trying to fit, they forget a tool, they forget a part, and it blows their day. So understand, we're going to be tying you into the schedule. We're going to keep you updated on that final date. We're going to keep you updated on what's going on for that week. But understand, everybody's human and sometimes days can get adjusted. Our goal is to hit our finish date, and we've built some time into there so that we'll hit the finish date. We have some buffer. But if somebody doesn't show up one day, understand we're on it. Let us know, but that some of that stuff happens. Explain that right up front, just like so when that happens, people are like, oh yeah, that's what you told me. You told me, like they're not even caring. Change orders. Get this up front. You want to talk about this right up front. So listen, the salesperson came in. They are a human being. They are typically at your house for 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. They are probably have missed something. That's why we have the contingency on the second page here. Change orders are going to be for anything that's not in the scope of work. It could in your contract that we've allotted a actual, line item for to be paid for. We can't do things for free. So if it's not included in our scope, we need to charge you. So that's why we have a minimum of 10% contingency. So that's why this is on the same page. 10% contingency is, and you can explain this. 10% contingency came up from HUD, and they found with all their data that every contract was off by 10%. And we don't even know where it is, but we're gonna uncover something that needs to be rerouted. We're gonna find some rot. We're gonna find, that maybe the building department comes in and says, hey, you need to upgrade this, or that's unsafe. That maybe has nothing to do with us. But we need to fix that for us to clear our permit. So you have to understand there's a 10% contingency, and it is for cost overruns. We do not know where they are yet. Or maybe you've already walked the property and say, hey, listen, this is potential. We're going to be pulling that door out. I see like there could be some rot there. That might be a contingency item because we're going to have to replace the sill. We're going to have to replace some of the structure there, maybe some of the siding. So, but we're not going to know. Maybe it's just surface and we're fine. So you're going to, maybe prep them for that. Electric and plumbing. I'm like, hey, listen, we're taking this wall down. Right now it looks okay, but if, there could be a big chunk of wires in there that we don't know. So explain that to them. That, listen, we're within 10% typically every time of our project. So really get that instilled. Say, listen, and I can't, I cannot continue work unless you sign that change order. So if I'm going to prep you, I'm going to explain it to you, I'm going to get you pictures, I can meet with you on the job site, explain why it needs to be more, and then, you have to make the decision of what to do. But if you don't sign it, I have to stop work. And that's obviously for legal reasons and for every reason. Like, we're not going to do work unless it's been accepted. So, very important. You set this up front. And, something arises, no big deal. Progress reports. Little picture explaining what it is, right? So, say, listen, at the end of the week, if there's a lot of work done, I'll have scheduled in progress reports. And I want to meet with you, and I want to go line by line of the progress of the project. So we are going to do a walkthrough, and we are going to talk about what's been done. So we've installed flooring here. We've installed, we've painted here. Why do we do progress reports? We'll be like, listen, I'm human and you're human and the subcontractor's a human. What we want to do is at the end of the job have a minimum of issues. So if we go week by week, you might catch something, I might catch something, and we can get that fixed immediately when that subcontractor's there and get everything buttoned up. So at the end of the job, we're not trying to find them and bring them back. So progress reports. What is going to happen is we're going to go through and you're going to sign off stating you're happy with what's been done so far. And if you're not happy, we're going to write it down on the progress report saying this is what we're fixing for this week. So explaining like, listen, this is normal. everyone, typically everybody does about 95% of what they're supposed to do. And then 5% is, they miss it. They're tired. It's 3 o'clock at the end of the day. They're trying to finish up. They're rushing. They maybe have a helper that it was new and he doesn't do a good job. That's what our job is, to make sure that your project comes out to industry standards and to on time and on budget. That's what our job is. So there's a lot's going to be problems. This is not an easy task. Really set the tone here. The salesperson pumped them all up and sold the company, did all of that. Now you got to bring them down to reality. Progress reports. So that's going to say, okay, listen, and then you want to build this in. Hey, you want to invoices and payments. I love my job so much I would do it for free, but the mortgage company, we got to get paid. It's, you say something funny, whatever. So, but listen, we're going to be issuing an invoice through Co-Construct that you can pay ACH. If it's an FHA 203K, we'll be dealing with the HUD consultant and all of that stuff. That will be a totally other video, but we're just talking in general because it's still going to be the same way. You're still going to issue an invoice, and then you're going to give the invoice to the HUD consultant. And so the back end's a little bit. But you're going to say, listen, on those invoices for the cash jobs, you can pay online. We want to do ACH. Listen, it costs us to do credit card. If you need to use credit card, there's going to be that 2.9%, payment. It's just we're not gonna build that into our cost. So, but you can pay ACH online, really easy. We recommend that. We don't want to do checks at all because there's a good documentation that you paid, blah blah blah, for you and for us, and it keeps everything clean. So, when I issue an invoice, we are expecting you to get paid immediately within the day. If something happens, I cannot over leverage the job. So meaning saying, listen, if we don't get paid, I am not permitted to keep working on the project until we're back, because I can't have the whole project over leveraged, meaning we've done more than we've been paid. So you want to explain that. Say, I don't have that control. The office watches that, and we need to get paid. Obviously, I'm going to prep you so you're going to get the invoice next week, blah, blah, blah. And then, if it takes you a day, that's fine. But, within 3 days, we have that, we might have to pull off. I might have to pull off. So no, but you're setting that expectation. So you're not calling them up when they haven't paid, and you're not like, I'm going to pull my guys up. What does that do? It escalates. But if they have this and you've gone over it and they don't pay, say, hey, listen, just to remind you, like we did when we did the walkthrough, I can't over leverage. I can't keep everybody working. A lot of times people just, need a little kick. Punch list. Okay. Explain to them about the punch list. Say, listen, at the end of the project, there's going to be stuff. There's going to be paint and blemish marks, and like somebody banged into something. There needs to be touch-ups. There's going to be missing and loose hardware in the kitchen. The door is going to need to be explain to them up front based off of their project. The cabinet doors need to be adjusted. There's door and windows, maybe they're not closing properly. We need to get in there and adjust it. We need to adjust the door. Appliances, heating and cooling. It runs for a week, and then it people figure out it's not heating great in here. Explain to them. There's a time period where things that need to be adjusted, and that's what punch list at the end of the project. It doesn't mean they weren't installed properly. It means they need to be adjusted. So explain that. We are 100%. We're going to fix anything that wasn't done. Your progress reports are going to eliminate some of that, right? So your punch lists a lot of that stuff's going to be caught with the project. You're going to be walking through, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, this cabinet, this door, this window needs to be adjusted. And get it done right then. But of course, at the very end, it's those paint. It's the inside of the, you open up the closet and you look in the back end and, in the front facing wall, and it wasn't painted. That happens. The painter's in there paint and, breathing all of the fumes, doesn't know where he is, and walks out, forgets to paint the backside of the door. But that's you explaining that to the client is going to eliminate when they find it. They're going to be like, I found a punch list item, all excited, and be like, yep, 100%, you got it, nice one. Cleanup. Listen, it doesn't matter what we do, the cleanup, we need to prep them that we're gonna need additional cleanup. We're gonna, explain, we take a lot of precautions. However, dust migrates. They have their window open. It sucks everything through, even though through the plastic walls. Explain. Say, listen, there's key dust makers. We really recommend, if you haven't paid for the cleaning service that we offer, that you have a cleaning company come in. Because what we do is we broom sweep. We are not professional cleaners. Explain that to them. Key dust makers, demo of walls and floors. Say, listen, I don't care what we do, you're going to get dust migrate through your house. Drywall, sanding, woodwork sanding, tile cutting. Explain, listen, I've got all that stuff here. We're going to try to do it over here outside. However, it's going to get on your plants. It's going to get on we're going to drop cloth, but it's still going to get in some places. So explain that. If you have an HVAC system, we recommend shutting it off, right? For that day. Because that's pulling and pushing and, sucking air everywhere. Another thing would be is, bringing those additional filters and filter any of those intakes near your work site. And so that it doesn't suck everything up through the rest of the house. You got to kind of think about this when you're going in there. So clean up, right? Explain it to them. Really get down. The biggest and the best one, the last page really. What can go wrong? This was going to solve so many irate emails and, pissed off calls. And when you say, listen, there's going to be issues on this job. I got 10 companies coming through to get this thing, to get your addition done. Okay, there's going to be damage to the outside of your house or the inside of your house. I don't know when. We're going to try to be super careful, but somebody's going to drop something and is going to damage. They're going to ding the wall. They're going to hit something. The delivery truck is going to drive on your lawn because somebody sent the new guy and he's an idiot. We're going to fix everything. We stand 100% by. You need to take a photo and you need to let me know, or I'm going to catch it on the next time I'm at the project. So explain that. Lights and doors left open. Say, listen, it's going to happen. These guys are tired at the end of the day. They leave a door open and leave lights on. Bring it to my attention immediately. I will address it. But if it happens, I'm just pre-warning you. We will take care of it, but it's probably going to happen. Miscommunications. Hey, we're going to miscommunicate somewhere. It's part of this. The more we do on co-construct, maybe we eliminate most of it. Subcontractors running late and not showing up. Listen, and it happens. We have screened and we have, we rate and we get the best subcontractors that we can find. Sometimes they don't show up on time because they're backed up or something happens. Let us know. We are going to work on it. Poor workmanship. Sometimes we have somebody that we've been working with for years and they hire somebody that comes in and that person's not good. If the workmanship is not done to industry standards, we are going to rip it out and put it new. So if you get to that, you walk through that job site before me finding it and you find it, bring it to my attention. But understand we have methods to rectify poor workmanship, and we don't stand for it. Sometimes it could be somebody new that doesn't know what they're doing. It doesn't mean that it's not getting fixed, but we understand that, and usually the company that's involved will rip it out and put it in without even questions. So don't worry, we're going to take care of it. Real key. Long delays in work. We just went through COVID. We have huge backlogs of everything. we are trying as hard as we can. I'm dedicated to get the 5-star review and get you to the end of this project happy. We have a lot of things we got to deal with, and we're going to try to do that. And then the last page, 5-star review. Say, listen, we really want a 5-star review. Why? Is because it helps our business grow. It helps me get my next project. It helps the salesperson sell the next project. So I have somewhere so I can feed my family. So at any point, if you think that I'm not not operating at a 5-star level, you need to let me know. And at the end of the day, it says here, if not, can kind of contact the office. Okay? I want, my goal is to make you happy and make this project run on time, run on schedule, run on budget, and create that beautiful space that you want. So, 25 minutes, I kind of went through it, right? Pretty much what you would do for a client. So maybe set 30 minutes aside. You have that other time that you have maybe another half hour, 40 minutes with going over the scope of work. That scope of work, you got to do it right. You got to go line by line. I might even have another video for that. I'm not sure. But I mean, it's more, you're going to go and say, okay, we are doing this floor. We are doing this amount of outlets. We're doing this here, blah, blah, blah. And I guarantee there'll be at least one that the client will be like, oh, I thought we were doing hardwood instead of carpet. That's when your salesperson comes in and says, yes, you're absolutely right. We were doing hardwood until you had a budget of $50,000. We had to get it down to that. So we moved it to carpet. And then obviously it's going to be written right there and say, well, this is the signed copy, and they'll be like, oh, that's right. But that's where your salesperson comes in. So a lot, set aside that hour. Set it aside, hour and a half. Bring your sign. You're going to sign out the sign. Sign out the lockbox. Some guys do what they do is they do like they give themselves 2 hours and then they have their subcontractors come afterwards, right? So you're gonna have your carpenter and your all your guys. We're going through all of that. So, but that's part of the handoff. Client usually leaves and then you're there. Say, listen, I'm going to be here for the next couple hours. I'm going to walk through. I got to take some additional measurements. I want to take some additional photos. Listen, guys, if you take lots of photos of key parts of your project, do you think you got to run back there because you forgot something? You look on your photos. Say, oh, I got to do that. I got to do this. You use the tools. So real easy. You're going to get good at this. You'll have a flow. You'll have some jokes, kind of in there. You'll kind of be, moving and shaking. You'll go over the hard stuff with that client, managing those expectations in a way that's nice and easy. And you're not like, well, if you don't pay us, then, you're kind of just explaining it. And I guarantee when you use this and you explain everything, your project will go very smoothly. You will take somebody that's difficult and you will put bumpers around them that they cannot bounce out. And you will bring them right to the finish line. We've seen it. And that's why we put this together. It's proven. It's tried. It's practiced. Do the steps, the fundamentals. The fundamentals will get you to that finish with that client, and and we'll have a video on difficult clients because you're gonna bump into them. Listen, it goes with the course. It's part of your job. So, all right, guys, on to the next one. The big part of it, you set those expectations right at the very beginning. It's so important. It keeps everybody where they need to be, and it gets you to the finish line. Everybody's excited. Thanks, guys.